So to begin with, we want to enter a staff budget to show approximately how much availability each staff member has. And we can enter that by month, as you can see here, total hours and then billable hours. And that will apportion across the days that we have specified over here. Right now, all the weekdays. And I also have the option to enter by week, which I have done here, switching over to advanced mode. So that way I can say each week I've got exactly these many hours, and I can adjust as their availability decreases or increases. Otherwise, doing it at a monthly level, again, because it's apportioning by each day included in that month, we would see a corresponding increase or decrease across every single one of those days in the month, which might not be accurate. So, hence for this example, why we've entered by week. Now entering, it's fairly simple. All we're going to do is enter a begin and end period. I include the entire week so that it makes it easier again to choose whether or not we're going to work an entire week or not. I would then have to toggle Sunday and Saturday as well. It just allows for easier control. Once you've got that all entered, you can use the copy button to copy that over to other staff and adjust as need be. And you can see the resulting graph here for their availability that compares it against assigned time and actual time. So this will be kind of a real-time scenario of how much they're available, what has been tracked so far. So then the next step is going to be entering the project budgets. That's on the work list / budget for each project. And I've already set up a lot of that here. We've got a staff assigned for all the prep and a staff for all the review. At this point, this is not an active assignment. It's not going to show up on that chart we were just looking at because it is not assigned, so we haven't made a final determination whether they're going to actually be doing that or not. So we're going to set up all those hours there. You can see those are entered. And let me show you here really quickly what it looks like when you enter a budget item. Again, we don't have an assigned date. We're basically reserving a person against a specific step in the process, and then saying approximately how many hours it's going to take. And we were talking about why we have those broken out by period. We've got an extension prep setup. That was something we did during the on-site. We've got post-extension, that's that middle season work you were talking about. We have that broken out from deadline prep so that you know exactly how much you expect to have done within that time frame. So then, once the work actually comes in, or we know when it's going to come in, we can start putting assigned dates out there to say when they're going to be able to start working on it. The one that's going to have the most flexibility is the extension prep. That's because it's when the client initiates it, when we can actually start working on it. And then post-extension prep, we're going to set that up for May 1st in this scenario, give a couple weeks after the April deadline. And then that period's going to be pretty static. We're going to have that run from May 1st. I'm going to use September, we'll say September in my example here, just to give a general period saying these are how many hours we need to do in this time frame to make it manageable in the end. So then for review, as I did with extension review, I'm setting that up to be assigned immediately after the first step is assigned, or due rather. That way it'll show up on the reviewer's list. If they don't have it yet, then they can follow up. They can see whether or not the previous assignment has been completed. So now that all of these have been assigned, if we were to go back and take a look at our staff budget, we're going to see that the assigned numbers have increased, and those have also been apportioned based on the assign and due dates. So, because I have Monday through Friday, if we look at those weeks, I can see that workload has already been populated here. So if I had one that was for a short period of time and had the same hours as another project, I would see a much higher number of hours being estimated here. But because I have it over a long period of time, it's a low hour count. I can see exactly how much work this staff person has to do at this point. So with that being said, something that can help you down the road is estimating mid-season how much you have to work on, and then that will help you fill in the original assignment in terms of who's going to get the extension prep, who are we actually going to give this to. All right, so then tracking time. How is this going to translate into seeing whether or not we're making progress? Let's go ahead and track some time here against the assignments. And typically you won't have to change the staff, we're just on a different login here. And I'm tracking a lot of extra time here because I want you to see the difference here. If we were just going to cram this through, we're giving them flexibility to be able to complete the work over a longer period of time, but then that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to follow exactly that many hours. Obviously, they'll have a lot more assignments given to them over a long period of time, so they wouldn't even necessarily know how much they have to put in other than the assignment number there on their activity list for the total amount of work. So you can see here, that's what I've tracked so far. Switching that back over to staff A. All right, so from a quick glance, if anyone needed to follow up on a project, you can see here we are over our budget on extension prep. And then again, going back to staff budget. So now we're going to see some actuals on our staff budget. And let's show it by week. You'll be able to see the detail because we did push through in about 3 days. It's showing up as a lot more time here than what was estimated because we estimated that assigned time will go up. In terms of seeing whether or not the staff is going to become overworked or is falling behind in any way, we'll be referring to another report. So the next thing we wanted to also track is basically how effective are our staff, and are they meeting our budgets? Are they meeting the budgeted time that we've allotted? And we can run the staff budget report in partial or summary detail rather. You can see staff A here, what we've recorded. This is basically giving us the same information that was on the staff budget chart. It doesn't include what was assigned by project, so it's more a report that you would use in tandem with that chart. And the benefit here is that I have all of the staff on one report, so I could run this daily, weekly, follow up and make sure everybody's meeting what they've been assigned. And then again, comparing that to our chart. So then after we know how our staff are working, we also want to know on a project basis how everything is going. So we're going to run a budget report for that in partial detail, and there are a couple different things we can do, how much detail we want to actually include on here. So let's configure this first of all. We want to make sure that we're within the range of dates that we have assigned things out or budgeted them. And I mentioned earlier that those budgets will not show up on that chart unless they're actually assigned. Those budgets will show up here, so if you want to do an audit and just say for this general time frame, have we budgeted an appropriate amount of work for the total number of hours that are available, we can show that here. And because this shows actuals, this is also where a project manager could go and look at specifically their projects to see the progress that has been made. Is time actually being tracked to their projects? How close are they? From the staff point of view, there is a value on the activity list that shows how many budget hours are remaining on the far right hand side. We can go into more detail with that, but I want to leave this at these tools to see how that covers the discussion that we had last week.